This video is for Amazon sellers who haven't been diligent in their bookkeeping during 2020 and now want to get their numbers prepared with the least amount of pain possible so that they can get their 2020 tax filing completed. Here I will show you how to use the AKYN main workbook to get this task done. AKYN stands for Amazon Know Your Numbers. Okay, let's get to it. If you have this AKYN main workbook, click on Import Reports. We're working on 2020. You're going to need the transaction report for 2020, 1/1/2020 to 12/31/2020. And you're also going to need the inventory reconciliation report for the entire year. Now we have a note here that says both dates must be at the beginning of the month. So we're going to put 1/1/2021 there. So the section tells you where to find the report and how to generate the relevant report. Now, let's assume for purposes of this video, you did that download as instructed. Now let's import the data into your workbook. Click this button. Here is the file that I downloaded earlier for the transactions report. Click this button. Here's the file for the inventory reconciliation report. Okay. Now, first thing we're going to do, as you know, is you need your cost of goods sold to get your tax filing completed. So first thing you're going to do is go to the inventory valuation tab and follow these instructions here, which says that first of all, click reset, click update. We have a message here that says edit this report for any inventory not at Amazon, because this report right here is only for FBA inventory. So inventory at the Amazon warehouses as of the dates that we indicated when we generated the report. So if we have inventory at home or in transit, we have to edit and reflect that here. We're now in April, so you might have to do some detective work or some backing into your numbers to get the proper adjustments here. Let's just say we had 20 of the first 3 SKUs at home, or we know that they were in transit as of 1/1/2021. Okay, so we click reset, we click update. Now let's click calculate. What's going to happen here is we're going to get a message that we are missing some cost information, that there's an error in our data. And so we're going to have to provide that cost information. So right here, there's a warning. There appears to be an error in your data. Go to tab inventory count for instructions. So we go to tab inventory count. Okay, these are the SKUs that existed at the end of the year, but there's no value to these SKUs, and that's because we haven't provided any price information, how much it costs to purchase these SKUs. We're going to have to copy the SKUs over to products bought for resale, and also copy the quantity. Okay. Now this part is unavoidable. You will have to go through your receipts and enter the cost for each SKU. If you bought this product more than once and at different prices, you're going to have to enter 2 rows for that SKU reflecting the 2 different prices under the cost per item. Okay, so for purposes of this video, I prepared another spreadsheet with the cost information. Let me just copy this. This is going to take a little bit of time if we had to do it one by one. So let me just copy that here. Okay, and we entered some data, so we have to click this to copy the formulas down. Now you will note here that I just put 1/1/2020. That's not really the date that I purchased these items, but since we're trying to get this done with the least pain possible, I just put that date arbitrarily. It has to be a 2020 date, and you'll see why I chose 1/1/2020 in a minute. Now, once we've done that, let's go to our Financials tab and click the refresh button. So in a minute, we will see this spreadsheet populated. You're going to see this message here, check missing cost tab for any missing SKU costs, but for this purpose, we're going to ignore that message. Okay. If you go to missing cost, you're actually going to have all the SKUs with missing information, cost information. These are the SKUs that have been sold during the year. And this could be a very long list. That's why we're going to ignore it for now. The other list that where we already inputted the information, it's much shorter. So less than 50 items, or the missing cost information was over 300 items. But anyway, ignore that. Let's look at this. What we want to do is look at the inventory purchased line. So this says inventory of 3809.73 purchased during the year. You'll have to go through your receipts and add up all the times when you purchased inventory. Just, if you have one credit card for all your business purchases, then add all the entries in that card when you bought inventory. So, for example, let's say after adding up your credit card or bank account statements, entries for inventory, you know that you purchased $100,000 worth of inventory during the year. What we're going to do is to kind of trick the spreadsheet to reflect a total inventory purchase during the year of $100,000. Now, the spreadsheet already reflected 3809.73 of inventory. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 2/1/2020. I have a temp SKU. Make sure you don't have a SKU that says temp. So use temp and just put quantity of 1 and 309.73. You want to put here 100,000, which is what you know is your actual inventory purchased cost, minus 3809.73. Hit enter, and then we entered additional data. So click to copy the formulas down. Now when we go through the Financials tab again, now it reflects the accurate amount for the inventory we purchased during the year. Now it reflects 100,000. And here, by the way, is why I chose a 1/1 date for the SKUs with specific cost information, and then a 2/1 date for the true-up amount, so I get the full 100,000 for the entire year. This way I can easily see what I'm doing here. Okay, now let's go back to the inventory valuation. We're not done yet. Remember, there was a warning, so we didn't really complete this section. So as the instructions say, whenever there's a warning here, you have to repeat the process. So click reset, click update. We know that message, and we know that we have to put 20 and 20 for the first 3 SKUs here, and then click calculate. Now, this should say everything looks good, and this should say that it has a value for our year-end inventory, because we provided all the cost information for the SKUs that it said we needed. Okay, so there it is, looks good. Enter this value in the table below as of 12/31/2020, 3809.73, which, by the way, is the same amount in this example, the same as what we had in the financial step. All right, now for the other months, we still don't have any information, and we need to complete it. At the end of the prior year, we had, let's say, 5,000. The value of our inventory at the end of our prior year is 5,000. If this is your first year, this will be 0. Okay, but let's say this is not your first year. At the end of the year, it was 5,000. Now we have to populate these entries for the months January to November. But instead of going through this again for every month, what we're going to do is just apply a formula, put in a formula here. So inventory at the beginning of the prior period plus we purchased this much minus we sold this much. Again, that's inventory at the end of the prior period. We purchased this much, we sold this much. And then just copy that formula down. It's the same formula. Copy that formula down to November. Okay? So now this is saying we purchased $100,000 worth. We had, let's just check the math here. We had 5,000 at the beginning. We bought 100,000. We sold, the actual cost for the year, cost of goods sold is 190. Our ending inventory should be 3809.73, which is what we had there. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So now we have the right cost of goods sold, 101,190. We have the right inventory purchased here. And you're going to need that for your tax form as well. And then the only thing remaining is to populate the expenses section of this sheet, of this workbook. And you don't do that in this tab, you do that in the other expenses tab. So for example, you had mileage expenses. It's the category. And you know that you spent $500 for mileage for the entire year. We're just going to use 1/1/2020 for all these expenses. Say you added up all your contract labor costs. For example, you used a prep center or hired other people to help you with the prep. Let's say you spent $6,000 on that, and so on and so forth. You paid for insurance. You paid, let's say, $500 for the year. Click to copy. So that's other expenses amounting to $7,000. Let's look at the report. There we go. Other expenses, $7,000. They're all showing up in the January column because that's what we said. We just put January dates here. So the columns are not accurate, but you know, for your tax filing, you don't need month to month anyway. You only need the amount for the entire year. So that's what you can do to spend the least amount of time on this as possible. That's it. That's all you need to do. If you have any questions, post it in the comment below. Post it in our Facebook group page. I hope you find this helpful. Bye for now.